Meanwhile, I hope you've taken note. If you're following me on Facebook, if you're following me on Twitter, X, all the social media, all the consultants said, John, don't waste your time going to the Eastern Shore. Don't go to Tangier Island. There are not enough votes there. There's not enough money there. And you know what I said? Get away from me. Stop. These are Virginians. They deserve to be seen. They deserve to be heard. And if you're going to run for statewide office, you need to put in the work to show you're serious about representing the people of Virginia. So 2 sets of tires later and 100,000 miles on my 2017 Ford Explorer. We'll start a GoFundMe when this is over with. I have been all over the state trying to reach out to people who have never even considered voting Republican before. I went to the mosques and I sat for 3.5 hours with the imams. Now, if you know my personal story, that's a little uncomfortable. It is. But you know what? That's what a leader does. If you want to be the leader of a diverse state with 8.5 million people who have different opinions and different faiths and different concepts of how to live, you need to go show them that you're serious about doing that. That's why I went to the synagogues. That's why I went to the temples. That's why I went to the NAACP convention. And I walked in the door and they said, what are you doing here? And I said, my name's John Reid. I'm running for lieutenant governor. I'm going to always come and visit with you. Because Republicans and our party, we have the right solutions to build business, to bring new jobs. Glenn Youngkin has showed us that for the last 4 years with all the jobs he's brought to Virginia. And I think if we just extend a hand to people who are looking for leadership, sincere, principled leadership, we'll find that there's so much that we have in common that it overwhelms the differences. And that's why I'm running for lieutenant governor, is to bring people together in the state.
Quý vị đang coi rally của 3 ứng cử viên Cộng hòa tại Virginia, trong đó có ông John Reid mà Trần Michael đã phỏng vấn, tranh cử phó thống đốc. Xin quý vị ngày mai nhớ đi bầu ở tất cả tiểu bang. Xin cảm ơn.
My mom was a public school teacher in Charlottesville. My grandmother, 25, 30 years, public school teacher in Greensville County in Emporia when they used to still teach kids Latin, okay? I'm for the public schools. But imagine this, a political person who can be honest and say we got problems. Let's not destroy the public schools. How about we fix them? What do you think? What do you think? Send somebody to the Capitol in Richmond who doesn't just talk about it, who doesn't just make up big press conferences and try to get to the next election and hope
Quý vị đang coi rally của 3 ứng cử viên Cộng hòa tại Virginia, trong đó có ông John Reid mà Trần Michael đã phỏng vấn, tranh cử phó thống đốc. Xin quý vị ngày mai nhớ đi bầu ở tất cả tiểu bang. Xin cảm ơn.
I'm excited about doing that. I'm excited about doing that. And that's the great thing about not having been in the House of Delegates and not having been in the state Senate and not having run before and not being given a lot of money by the big money people. Because you know what? If you send me to Richmond, I don't owe a damn thing to anybody. And if you're an independent voter watching this right now, I'm your guy. Because there's nobody else at the Capitol who can say that. I'm going to go in there. You're going to get my unvarnished opinion. You're going to get my sincere effort without having to go and call somebody for permission. And that is what I think the voters of Virginia and the people of the United States have been looking for in leadership. And that's why I'm running. So let me wrap up with one of the big things that really pushed me in January to leave my radio program. Pretty good paycheck. I was reminded of how good it was when I paid the mortgage 2 days ago. Like, that money's not around anymore. I came back from a vacation, and there was a porta-toilet in front of the governor's mansion. There was no water in the capital city of Richmond.
Quý vị đang coi rally của 3 ứng cử viên Cộng hòa tại Virginia, trong đó có ông John Reid mà Trần Michael đã phỏng vấn, tranh cử phó thống đốc. Xin quý vị ngày mai nhớ đi bầu ở tất cả tiểu bang. Xin cảm ơn.
You don't have to ask Republicans for permission to do anything in the city of Richmond. This is the problem with the current leadership of the Democrat Party. A total distraction. They're obsessed with the racial animosity that used to exist instead of trying to bring people together today. And so instead of focusing on the pipes and the pumps and making sure that we're ready to compete with other states, they're competing with themselves, with the social justice warriors who've never created a job, don't know how to run anything, and they're about to drive the state into a ditch. This is my home state. You are my people. Even if you just moved here from New Jersey, you're my people. And I'm going to stand up for you. And for the police officers are here tonight. The police officers here tonight outside looking after us. I'm going to stand up for you too, because I saw what happened in that same city in 2020. The balloons filled with urine and feces thrown on the police officers night after night. The black families of my hometown who spent decades trying to build businesses that were then destroyed by the BLM and Antifa protesters. Well, listen, we're not all going to agree on everything, and I accept that. That's okay. What I'm not going to accept is violence in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And we need leaders who will stand up and be clear about that. You don't have to agree with me. I'm going to protect you. I'm going to stand up for you. I'm going to make sure that we live in a state where we have mutual respect for each other going forward. It is clear that the Democrat Party of Virginia has forfeited that as one of the things that they care about. Jay Jones, Abigail Spanberger, Ghazala Hashmi will not stand up for the people of Virginia and keep them safe. They will not defend the police. And this is too important a place, the birthplace of American liberty, for us to sacrifice that going forward. So here's my closing pitch to everybody who hadn't decided who they're going to vote for Lieutenant Governor. I hope I got your vote in the room. But if you send me to the Capitol in January as Lieutenant Governor, I promise you, I will be the reasonable man that you have been looking for to lead you at the Capitol. I will be responsible with your money and with the decisions that you entrust with me. I will be respectful of other people, even if they disagree with me and I disagree with them. How's that? How about that? And that's why I'm running. So thank you for everything you've done. Let's get ready to win tomorrow. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Are you ready to start up? Are you ready to? I'm asking Virginia to rehire me to continue to protect you. And listen, it's been an incredible. journey. So many of y'all have been dear friends with us on this journey. But listen, this great joy that Glenn and Winsome and I and John, as we go around asking Virginians to hire us, we also got to remind Virginians where we came from. We got to remind you of the Virginia of 2021. Do you all remember that state? Do you remember the Virginia of 2021 telling you as parents you don't matter, to sit down and be quiet? The Virginia of 2021 that was 48th in reopening our schools. kept our public schools closed, but our ABC stores open. Remember that, Virginia? The Virginia of 2021 that was dying economically. The Virginia of 2021 that had 8 straight years of more people moving out of the state than moving into the state. That had not happened since Calvin Coolidge was president. I did have a young staffer ask me, boss, who in the world's Calvin Coolidge? So if you don't know, that had not happened in 100 years. Virginia is one of those states that was dying. And then something happened in 2021. Do y'all remember what it was? It's called victory, right? You hired me, you hired Winsome, you hired Glenn. We went to go work for you, and from day one, we never took any plays off. And folks, the Great Virginia Turnaround happened. It's the most remarkable 4-year turnaround any state has seen in modern American history. For being a state that was 46 in job creation, the top 5, $140 billion of brand new investment in Virginia, greater than the last 4 governors.
Quý vị đang coi rally của 3 ứng cử viên Cộng hòa tại Virginia, trong đó có ông John Reid mà Trần Michael đã phỏng vấn, tranh cử phó thống đốc. Xin quý vị ngày mai nhớ đi bầu ở tất cả tiểu bang. Xin cảm ơn.
You just can go right up the road to Maryland, folks. Look what happened to Maryland. Larry Hogan, great Republican governor, leaves office in less than 2 years. After leaving office with a budget surplus and a tax rebate, Maryland is now broke and the 3rd highest tax state in the entire country after New York and California. Well, Virginians, do we want a Maryland, our Virginia? I didn't hear you. Do you want a Maryland, our Virginia? And when I said we took over a state that was dying in 2021, when you hired me to be the top prosecutor, we had a murder rate at a 20-year high, a violent crime rate at a 30-year high, the highest levels of addiction deaths ever seen. And I made several promises to you, Virginia. I said we're going to work with police instead of against police. We launched Operation Bold Blue Line to put more cops on our streets. I promised you that as Attorney General, we would prosecute these repeat violent offenders because we saw that 5% of felons were committing over 50% of the violent felonies. We did. We launched Operation Ceasefire in our most violent cities, from Roanoke to Hopewell, over a 60% drop when you go after these repeat violent offenders. Double-digit drop on our violent crime rate. More Virginians are alive today. I promised you, Virginia, we were going to go after the big opioid manufacturers that push OxyContin in our communities. And we did, getting some of the largest settlements, $1 billion plus money that goes to addiction treatment. I promised you we were going to go after these fentanyl dealers that were poisoning our kids. My office alone, the last 4 years, has prosecuted and removed enough fentanyl off the streets that would have taken the lives of 7 million Virginians. So Virginians, I'm proud of my record as I ask you all to rehire me. Now, there is someone else applying for the job, if you haven't heard. I know my race has really been below the national radar. His name was Jay Jones. Jay Jones is asking Virginia to hire him to be the top prosecutor, and he's never prosecuted a case a day in his life. But what he has been in the General Assembly was a left-wing politician that voted against cops and against victims. He even voted to end the mandatory reporting requirement of sexual assault in schools, which led directly to the national scandal of Loudoun, where a 15-year-old boy puts on a skirt, walked into that bathroom, brutally sexually assaulted that young 15-year-old girl, and then just got transferred to another school rather than reporting to police. He has championed removing SROs out of our schools. Those are the cops that guard our kids. He wants them out, I want them in. He supports things like no cash bail, which literally means you're a carjacker or a rapist, you cannot be held prior to trial, even if you're arrested. Jay Jones is too soft and too weak for this job on public safety. But now we know something more. Abraham Lincoln once said that character is what you do in the dark when no one is watching. Well, what was in the dark was brought to light. And even the Washington Post has come out today and said that now this election for Attorney General is about decency. Because, folks, there is no tolerance for political violence in America. And this idea that when your job as Attorney General to be the top prosecutor, your number one job is to stop violence, Jay Jones is somebody who literally through his own hands has advocated for violence. Advocated to put 2 bullets in the head in an innocent Virginian just because he didn't like their politics. Now, this is part of what shocks me and the legacy media maybe has missed. When he sent these text messages, these were not hypothetical people. I served in the General Assembly with Jay and Todd Gilbert, the subject of these text messages. I know Todd, so does Jay. I know Jennifer Gilbert, his wife. She would come to the assembly all the time. So does Jay.
Quý vị đang coi rally của 3 ứng cử viên Cộng hòa tại Virginia. Trong đó có ông John Reid mà Trần Michael đã phỏng vấn, tranh cử phó thống đốc. Xin quý vị ngày mai nhớ đi bầu ở tất cả tiểu bang. Xin cảm ơn.
This is a real mother that he wanted to see anguish of having her children die in her arms. These are real kids that he has met that he wanted to be dead. Folks, we have never found any attorney general in any state ever that has run for attorney general while advocating for violence against children, while advocating for violence against cops. The hardest thing that I have to do as attorney general is attend the end-of-watch funeral for the fallen. The idea that Jay Jones has literally said it would be good if some cops died because maybe they would change how they do policing is unconscionable. Shame on him. Because when you attend an end-of-watch ceremony, the last thing, and they call it this, is the last thing that happens before they roll that casket out, is they have the dispatcher's voice come in through that church hall, and they call out the final radio call. They call out the officer's name 3 times. 3 times. There's no answer. And then it says, Officer Michael Chandler, Officer Hunter Reedy, Officer Cameron Gervin, Officer Christopher Reese, Officer J.J. Painter. Your watch has ended. We now have the watch. If you've ever attended one, and all of those are real human beings that lost their lives, Michael Chandler died on his birthday. Same pastor that married him 30 days before was burying him. Your heart just breaks. These are the very best of Virginia. The idea that someone would run for this office who has to work with law enforcement every day, who's advocated for their death, advocated for the death of children, somebody who literally by his own handwriting says, I want to urinate on the graves of my political opponents. Folks, we're at this moment, Virginia. The eyes of the world are upon us. I never thought my race would get press calls from Munich to London, to Sydney, Australia, to Los Angeles, to Seattle. But here we are. And as Governor Youngkin loves to say, Virginians, we don't follow, we lead. Well, Virginians, this is our moment to lead the nation. When we could take a step back after we saw what happened in Utah with Charlie Kirk's death, where people want to decide that your voices have to be silenced with a bullet in the neck, that we're going to stand up and say, no more. And certainly not give a job promotion to a left-wing politician to be the top prosecutor in the state. Virginians, are you with me? Are you ready to send that message? And listen, I will end with this. You know, I travel around the state a lot, and sometimes I'll get asked, you know, what kind of name is Miyares anyway? I like to say, what's a Southern name? Gracias. Te quiero mucho. Gracias. All my rowdy friends, right? As Winsome likes to say. But I've always remembered, my mother always raised me to believe that this is the American miracle. This year is 60 years since a scared 19-year-old girl got on an airplane in October of 1965, penniless and homeless. That was my mother, Miriam Miyares. She got to essentially vote on the same anniversary of when she left the country with no consent of the governor. She was able to vote for me to continue to be the Attorney General, the top law enforcement officer in the state. That's the American miracle. And so, as the first child of an immigrant that's ever been Attorney General, I love to say that if your family came to this country seeking hope and opportunity, then your family is a lot like my family. And it's the honor of my life to be your Attorney General, to preserve that American miracle. Ronald Reagan once made this observation. He said, of all the countries in the world, the United States is the only country, the only one in which our national anthem ends with a question. Does a flag still fly over the land of the free? and the home of the brave. I think it's a question by design. It's a question that has to be answered by every generation. It's a question that has to be answered by Virginia tomorrow. Are y'all ready to answer yes to that question? Wait. Are y'all ready to answer yes to that question? Go vote. Get your friends to vote. God bless you. It's been your honor to run and be your Attorney General. God bless you.
'74th.
Rumble! Come on now. Listen. I tell you, Logan and Charlie for knowing that there is a revival going on around this country, and it is because we know we have to have a friend named Jesus. My friends, we have an election to win tomorrow. We have an election to win tomorrow, and we must win because elections have consequences. It's just that simple. And we know elections have consequences because we did something in 2021 that no one thought could happen. In 2021, we swept the state races, won back our House, and we saved Virginia. That's what we did in 2021. It was not about Republicans versus Democrats. It was about Virginians coming together and saying no more. No more are we going to allow parents to be pushed out of their children's lives. No more. No more are we going to put criminals in front of victims. No more. No more are we going to allow the government to take your hard-earned money and put it in government's pockets when it should stay in your pocket. No more. Virginians, we know how to win, but we have to win. You see, you understand how far we've come? Back in 2021, Virginia was a lost state. It was a state that was falling so far behind and moving so far left, it was moving past California on the way to Hawaii. And we came together and we said no more. And today we see a Virginia that is so different. A Virginia that all of a sudden has more jobs than people can possibly take. 276,000 more people working today than when we started. 200,000 open jobs, $140 billion of commitments from companies to invest here. My friends, we got jobs all over the place. But see, it's more than just jobs. There's dignity in work. We know there's dignity in work. Those magic words, "you are hired," mean so much more than just going to work. They mean, I respect you. I care about you. You are made in the image of God, and therefore you are part of this organization. My friends, those words have been echoed 276,000 times over the course of the last 4 years, record numbers, and there's 200,000 more to go. My friends, this is the Virginia of today. Today we live in a Virginia where parents sit at the head of the table, not pushed out of the room, because no parent chooses to co-parent with the government. Never, never, never. That day when we sat on the Capitol steps and we signed that bill that said parents can take the masks off your kids, that was a huge day in the Commonwealth of Virginia. We signed that bill that said if there's sexually explicit materials in the classroom and you don't like it, you can take them out and replace them with something else because it's your family that matters, not what a teacher chooses. We have seen our students soar. At the beginning of this administration, we were told that Virginia was leading. Virginia was leading in learning loss coming out of the pandemic because you were told a 12-inch screen was a quality education. We had to go to work because 4th grade and 8th grade reading and math led the nation in learning loss. Well, let me tell you today, Virginia is leading the nation in learning recovery because we believe in students. We have made the tests harder and the students do better. My friends, if we believe in our students, they will soar. And if we subject them to the soft bigotry of low expectations, they will fail. That is the Virginia of today versus the Virginia of yesterday. My friends, we can make this happen, but we have to win. We cannot allow Virginia to go backwards. Virginia is safer today because of our great Attorney General, Jason Miyares, and the great work he's doing. A 30% reduction in murders in 1 year. Thank you, Jason. Leading the nation in the reduction of fentanyl overdoses. Thank you, Jason. And by the way, he won a Supreme Court case last year that said, by the way, if you are a non-citizen, you are not allowed to vote in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Thank you, Jason. Elections have consequences. They have consequences. And we stand today at a crossroads. Right here, there's a fork. And at that fork, we see two paths. A path to the right, a path to the light, a path to opportunity, and a path to the left. A path to wrong, a path to darkness. My friends, when we stand in that path, we have to make a choice. We cannot stand in the middle. Standing in the middle is a vote for the other side. Standing in the middle is a vote for nothing. Standing in the middle is the abyss. We must choose. And I will tell you, Virginians understand what it means to choose. Virginians have always been choosing because we lead, we don't follow. 250 years ago, this past March, in a small church in Richmond, Virginia, St. John's Church, there was a meeting of Virginians. A meeting of Virginians to decide, should we raise a militia and go to war? To go to war for our independence. Meeting was held and the first vote was a tie. Virginians were standing in the middle. A tie, yes, many people thought, well, maybe we can't beat England because, well, they have the biggest military in the world. Maybe a tie because they were worried they might lose everything that they had worked so hard for. Maybe a tie because they were scared. And then a man walked up to the front of the church named Patrick Henry. And he caught his breath and he looked at his fellow Virginians and he said, I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death. My friends, I choose liberty. I choose liberty. The bottom line is, here we are again, standing in the middle. And we are not allowed to stay there. We must choose the path of light. We must go down the path of right. We must go down the path of opportunity. And that is what tomorrow is all about. Tomorrow is all about getting more votes than the other person. Tomorrow is all about electing Winsome Earle-Sears, your next governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia. Tomorrow is all about electing John Reid, your next lieutenant governor. Tomorrow is all about electing Jason Miyares, your next attorney general. Tomorrow is all about sending Ian Lovejoy back to Richmond to represent all of you. Tomorrow is about right and light. But in order to win, we got to get the vote out. Right now, this thing is so close. It's like, well, two NASCAR racers coming around the corner. And Abigail thought she was out front. And here comes Winsome on the outside. Here comes Winsome on the outside. And Winsome's scraping a little paint as she goes by. She says, here I come. But Winsome will only finish if we get out and vote. And so how many of you already voted? Goodness gracious, that's awesome, but there's a bunch of you, I don't see your hands up, and that means you are going to be in the middle unless you get on the path and vote. And for those of you that have voted, I have a moment for you. As governor, I'm about to knight you. I didn't know I could do that. I made it up. I'm about to knight all of you as knights of winning the election tomorrow. You are about to have a special role as knights of winning the election tomorrow, and your role is to get 10 friends out to vote. And therefore, I, Governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia, do knight you all of winning the election tomorrow to get 10 friends out to vote. Finally, my friends, I ask all of you to pray. Pray tonight, pray tomorrow, pray all day. Pray for God's mercies to be on these candidates. Pray to have hedge of protections wrapped around them. Pray to take the scales off of voters' eyes so that they can see truth. Pray that they will see the truth of electing someone like Jay Jones as something we can never do in the Commonwealth of Virginia. This is an election about decency, and Jason Miyares is such a good man, and he must be our Attorney General. Pray for John Reid. Pray for John Reid that he wins tomorrow and that he will stand in front of that Senate, and when he has to cast that tie-breaking vote, he will always cast a vote on behalf of common sense and conservative values. Pray for John Reid to win tomorrow. And my friends, pray for Winsome Earle-Sears. This woman is a Marine. This woman is a small business owner. This woman is a mother and a grandmother. This woman is a fighter. This woman understands what it means to serve, and she is ready to do the job on day one. My friends, let's go win tomorrow and elect Winsome Earle-Sears our next governor. God bless you, and God bless the Commonwealth of Virginia.
Quý vị đang coi rally của 3 ứng cử viên Cộng hòa tại Virginia, trong đó có ông John Reid mà Trần Michael đã phỏng vấn, tranh cử phó thống đốc. Xin quý vị ngày mai nhớ đi bầu ở tất cả tiểu bang. Xin cảm ơn. Quý vị đang coi rally của 3 ứng cử viên Cộng hòa tại Virginia, trong đó có ông John Reid mà Trần Michael đã phỏng vấn, tranh cử phó thống đốc. Xin quý vị ngày mai nhớ đi bầu ở tất cả tiểu bang. Xin cảm ơn.
Isn't it time that you put the kids to bed? What happened? Love you too. Love you right back. Folks, we have an election tomorrow to win. We got to win tomorrow. That's all there is to it. And it starts with you. If you don't get out there and vote, well, of course you will. You will get out there and vote because we haven't come this far to only go this far. We've got a lot more to do, a lot more work to do. You know, Abigail Spanberger, Okay, I'll join you. Boo hiss, boo hiss. Abigail Spanberger has failed us. She has failed us. First of all, she's already said she is going to tax you more. I mean, who wants to do that? Nobody wants that. So if you want to make sure that you keep more of your own money that you work so hard for in your own pocket, vote for me. Vote for me. Vote for me. We just can't afford her. Let me tell you something else. So, she has failed us again because she doesn't have an energy policy that makes any sense. What am I talking about? She says she only wants solar and wind. And she says she is going to get rid of oil and gas in Virginia. Like, and what do we do? Wait. And what do we do then, Abigail? What do we do if we don't have oil and gas, Abigail? Silence. Silence. Because here's the thing. We need all kinds of energy. You know, every single Democrat voted for the Virginia Clean Economy Act, which means only solar and wind. And immediately it took so many megawatts of power off the grid and nothing to substitute it. So when you're looking at your energy bills and you're saying to yourself, why is it so expensive? Thank every single Democrat because they voted for it. Abigail Spanberger is one of those people who supports it. We can't afford her because you know what's happening in Maryland? In Maryland, in August of this year, they were told, prepare for rolling brownouts. So wait a minute, you mean I paid my bill and there's no energy? Because I don't know about you, but when I flip that switch, something needs to happen. It's just common sense, right? But not with Abigail. So I tell you what she needs to do is to solar and wind herself to Maryland. That's what she needs to do. We can't afford her. Then she says she wants to put us with the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative. And yeah, it's a long word for stupid. That's what it means. Makes no sense. You know, Governor Youngkin got us out of that because what it means is that you got to sell so many electric cars by a certain date, and if you don't, then it's $20,000 for every car that didn't meet the goal. What do you think's going to happen? You're going to end up having to pay that because the dealer is not going to do that. They're going to pass the costs on to you. So she's going to tell us you can't have a gas car. Like, who are you? And then she's going to tell you you can't have a gas stove if you want a gas stove, only electric. Like, what are you doing in my kitchen, Abigail? I mean, how'd you get through the front door? So you know whose policy that is? That Reggie business, regional greenhouse gas, blah, blah, blah. That is California. That is what California wants. We don't want to be California. We left California. My family and I did. If we wanted to be in California, we'd have stayed there. But I tell you what, I hear that there's a governor's election coming up in California. Maybe Abigail can solar and wind herself there. Go over there. Because smiling Gavin Newsom is going to be out of a job soon. I mean, that's failure all around. Failure. So, I got my gas tax. No, my car tax. My car tax bill. And, I hate that thing. I really hate it. And apparently there's some Democrats who love it. I don't know why. It makes no sense. I have a Honda. It's not even vintage. It's just old. And I'm still paying a car tax. So I did a little video over the summer when I got it, and I tore it up. I tore it up, and then it occurred to me, you still got to pay it. So I taped it back up. But I didn't have to pay that this year because Governor Youngkin put it in his budget to get rid of it, and the Democrats said no. The Democrats said no, but I'm telling you, yes, with me, we're going to get rid of the car tax. It's time. Get rid of the car tax. It's time. This is not hard, And for those Democrats who are going to miss paying it, I'm going to have a redesign of the Virginia tax form. And it's going to have a little box. Check here if you don't think we've taxed you enough. And then fill in the line how much more money you want to give to your government. And we will send you a golden thank you letter. You see, my policies will work for Democrats, Republicans, independents, and everybody in between. Because when I say that I'm going to make sure that you keep more of your hard-earned money in your pocket because I'm going to tax you less, well then, Democrats will pay less taxes too. And when I say that I'm going to keep you safe because I'm not going to defund the police and I'm not going to get rid of their qualified immunity, well, then Democrats will be safe too. I mean, it's not hard. But Abigail will be failing us, and she's already failed us because she failed to protect us when it came to our border. She voted for open borders. Why would she do that? You already heard our Attorney General say that fentanyl came across the border, killing 5 Virginians every day. Why would we want that? No, Abigail, forget about it. She's not going to answer. She's not going to answer. She doesn't ever answer. She smirks, which means she doesn't care, which means she's cunning. Because she knows that she should have told Jay Jones to get out of the race. To get out of the race. And she didn't. Because she has the backbone of pasta. We cannot have her as governor. Folks, she's soft on crime. You know that when she was in Congress, she voted for a bill that reduced penalties in D.C. when the people committed really bad crimes. I mean, the bill that she voted for was so bad that even Joe Biden vetoed it. Biden said, no, they got to go to jail. Don't you all get me in trouble now. And here's the problem with that. Abigail kept tying herself to Biden when it was politically, good to do so, until we found out that he was reading teleprompters that said, go to the next line, and the man read, go to the next line. Which means he was in cognitive decline, and she knew it, and she said nothing. But you know who also knew it? The rogue leaders of the world knew that the president then of the United States was in cognitive decline, and that's why you saw them do the things that they did on the world stage. Abigail should have said something, but she didn't. Politically cunning is this woman. She has failed us. We cannot have her. Abigail is for Abigail. Abigail is not for Virginia. And so I hope you will elect me again as governor. I will not fail you. Amen to that. Love it. Do or die. Let me see all the veterans in the house. Well, all right then. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your service. And here's the other thing. Here's the other thing. So we know she's going to take your money from you because she's going to tax you. We know she's not going to keep us safe, which is why I have more than 81 sheriffs who've endorsed me, more than anyone ever. And they're Democrats too, and independents who have endorsed me. I had a sheriff call me on the way here, and he said, I just want to pray for you. I mean, how awesome is that? That he prayed and he said that you would be our next governor. I'm telling you, this is the America that I know, the America that let my father in when he came in '63 with nothing. And you've heard the story. He only had $1.75, and he was so poor. I mean, he was just poor. He couldn't afford the OR, so he was just poor. Just poor. And I'm actually spotting him a quarter because he couldn't remember if it was $1.50 or $1.75. And then he came and got me. And, you know, I was returning recently because I was raised in New York. And speaking of Mamdami, which I'm not, but don't think that that can't come here. Because if you listen to some of the Democrats who are currently in our legislature, they are socialists. They are socialists. We cannot afford them. They will take everything that we worked hard for. Socialists are so kind with your money. So kind with your money. And so I was returning to New York, and I was going through the tunnel from Jersey, and I said to myself, my God, my father could never have thought that the little 6-year-old girl he was bringing to America would one day return to New York as a Republican nominee for governor of the great Commonwealth of Virginia. That's America. That's America. That's America. That's America. But there are some politicians, and they like to practice the politics of division. And it keeps us against each other. And everything is racism, and everything is racism. And who wants to live like that? No one. And what it does is it means that they are coming to save us. They're riding in on their horse, these Democrats. Well, how about you get back on your horse and ride on out of here? We don't want those kind of politics. We don't need that. That's poison. Folks, you've heard about all the wonderful jobs that we've been creating. When you look at all the headquarters that have been moving to Virginia, it's because we have the right kind of soil that will let them be fertile and grow and produce more jobs and grow some more and produce more jobs. I'm talking about we've gotten rid of 91,000 regulations that were job-killing regulations. I mean, how many more pieces of paper do I have to file that you're not going to read, but it makes you feel good, and it does nothing for my productivity? Does it sound like I owned a business? Yes. And the previous governor, the Democrat governor, Ralph Northam, killed it because of his policies. So let me tell you something. Speaking of Ralph, you know, do you remember when you had to get a permission slip from the the governor, to be out, remember? So that if you were stopped during COVID, you remember that? Like, who died and left him in charge like that? We cannot go back to that. So, I went and got a cutout of Ralph, life-size cutout of Ralph. And you remember, we had to wear masks everywhere. You remember that? Yes. I mean, I was watching people wearing masks, and they were the only ones in their car. I mean, what? That's how our government made us live in fear. And I took Ralph down to the beach at Virginia Beach, and he had the mask on. And we had to wear a mask at the beach. At the beach. And so I asked Ralph questions, and Ralph said nothing. It's like Abigail doesn't say anything. I'd ask him a question. Nothing. So I ripped the mask off, and he still said nothing. So you know what I did? I'd had enough of Ralph. So I put him down in my basement. But I forgot he was down there. And I walked down the basement one day, and there he was. I flicked on the light. I said, damn it, Ralph. He scared me. So I folded him half and put him back. But I'm telling you all this because it matters who the governor is. COVID didn't close our schools. Ralph Northam did. COVID didn't shut our businesses down. Ralph Northam did. COVID didn't shut our houses of worship down. Ralph Northam did. It matters who the governor is. We don't need a governor who's a dictator. We need somebody who's going to stand up for us. I will do that. I will stand up for you. Please vote for us this November. Vote for Jason Miyares for Attorney General. Come on, Jason. Vote for John Reid for common sense. Vote for our delegates. Where are our delegates? Come on down. Because we got to take the House back. Folks, vote for your future. Vote for your children. Vote, vote, vote. We can do this. We will win if you show up. God bless you, and God bless our great, great Virginia.